Hi, my name is Mercy. Welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. Not sure when I'm going to post this, but I'm sure it's going to be the new year because I'm recording it on the 31st. So here we go. Today, it's New Year. Many people have, one of the videos that I made before, I made a video, posted it. It's definitely going to be posted on the 1st, which is about New Year's resolutions. And depending on what your New Year's resolutions are, for most people, your New Year's resolution, I had mentioned in this video that what I think is you can actually, um, for your New Year's resolution, what you can do is you need to take stock of what has been working or not working, and then you can see how to, what you need to make it move to the next step. So when I did that video, I was mostly thinking about, career wise, and, it doesn't really matter if it's career wise, professional wise. I had said that look at your job. Are you as happy in it in December as you were in January? If you're not, then what do you need to do? Do you need to change something at the work? Do you need to change the job? Do you need to change the responsibilities? Do you need to talk to your boss about it? And when I was doing that video, it was actually while in the process of doing it, I realized that, you know what, sometimes we don't even know what we don't know. Because an example is when you go somewhere dark, you go in there and you look, your eyes adjust to it, and you realize that it's dark. And then your eyes adjust to it. And after a few minutes, you can actually still find your way around because your eyes have adjusted to the darkness. So the first few minutes, it would be uncomfortable. And then after that, you just get used to it. And then when you come back out in the light becomes too much. You're like, whoa, okay, what was that? And yet this is what was the real, the normal thing. Another example is for those who wear glasses. I remember one time when I so I used to wear glasses my high school life, and then I came to Switzerland, and in college I broke my glasses, and I think our insurance was not covering opticians or something like that. No, I don't even think opticians are covered by insurance. It's ophthalmologists who are covered by insurance. Anyway, so for a while I didn't have glasses, and then I kept saying, okay, I'm going to get them later. I'm going to get them later. Plus, our school was in the middle of nowhere. So I think to get glasses, I would have had to go into the town. Anyway, I'm not sure if there was a good reason why I didn't get those glasses, but all this to say, I stayed without glasses for a few years because after a while, I got so used to squinting and, just moving closer so that I can see things, and just got used to the idea that I can't read the street name if it's far. I have to wait until I'm there for me to be able to read it. Then at some point I went and got myself glasses because it had started getting ridiculous. And the way you look and you're like, oh, so from my apartment I can actually see the street sign. Huh, interesting. Whereas that's the norm. That's how it should have been to begin with. But I think this is what happens when you first get into a not so good work environment. I've met people who get into work environments where the first few weeks they're not happy, and you can tell, and they're like, oh, I'm not really sure about my boss. There's a way that he talks to me that I'm not, it just makes me feel a different kind of way, and I don't know how I'm feeling about this, and I don't know this, and I don't know this. And then 4 months later, they're like, yeah, you ask them, how is it? And they're like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, they still have, well, like, if you ask them for details, it's still not a good place. It's still not somewhere that is working for them. But they have adjusted so much to the toxicity that now they actually know how to work around it. And I mean, we can't always be comfortable in life, and sometimes, and not everybody has the luxury to be able to find the job they want at the time they want, or actually even be able to choose where they work. It's just, I live in Europe, and as an African in Europe, sometimes it might not be that easy to find something of your choice, because there are just all these other issues that you have to contend with. And it's just one of those things that, a little bit one step at a time, or maybe you have debts and you cannot leave this job. So there are many reasons why somebody feels and has to adjust to that life. The main important thing, the main reason for this video is, if you are the friend on the other end who's listening to this person coming to you and telling you how their job is not satisfying, they're not happy and what, and then you notice this shift, I'm really hoping that you would have the wisdom to know when to talk. I'm going to say this because I've just had a really bad experience where I gave somebody the worst advice that I could ever give anybody. And I am so, so happy that she was mature and had somebody else who gave her better advice and she ignored my advice. I am so glad that that happened, because I could have messed up her life with my best intentions. So somebody came to me a few months ago and told me that she is going through some issues with her work. She kind of felt like she was not being treated well. She felt, so it was a very male dominated space, and she just felt like they were, kind of, it was more of a boys club than she would like to be. And my thing was, I just told her, you know what, but why don't you just look for another job? I mean, you've not even been there long enough, so just look for another job. You are qualified, you have the right experience, you have, just just start looking for another job and then move out, and then she was like, no, she can't do that at the moment because she's going through some child custody issues. So she kind of needed the stability. And one of the things that this job was offering, which was she was not being able to get in her sector, was a lot of flexible working from home options, because now companies have started this nonsense of trying to get people to go into the office 5 days a week. Most companies are not forcing people to, but some are, and I don't know why they're doing that. It's just ridiculous. I can understand 2-3 days a week, but that's a whole rant for a whole other video. Anyway, so I gave this advice. It was coming from a good place. I didn't have anything against this person. To me, it just felt like that's the logical thing that she could do, and especially because I was looking at it from the fact that she really does have an impressive resume. She's worked for really good companies. She's, so for me, that was the best thing that I could advise her. Then a few days later, she comes and tells, we were having the conversation. I'm like, so have you decided to do something? Then she's like, yeah, but let me do this. I think first I'm going to try and talk to my boss. She was trying to talk to her boss about it and then see how it will go. And no, she wanted to talk to somebody in HR to try and gauge what she should do about it. Oh, me? I told her, you know what? I don't really trust HR, which is true. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you're in HR, but I mean, I have friends who work in HR, but I just don't believe. I think if I had a problem at work, the last person I would go to is someone in HR. I don't know why. I just keep feeling like these people, they are not there to have my back. They're there to have the company's back. And to me, it just feels like, once I say something to HR, that ship has sailed. You're not asking for advice from HR. You've reported it. And most of the time, I'm yet to meet people who reported things and then things went well. Most of the time, things end up going against you. So you guys don't have a good reputation. I'm sorry about that, but it's true. Anyway, so I tell her that, don't go to HR. What you should do, go talk to your boss, because in my past experiences, when I had felt a bit gaslit, that's what I had done. And I was like, okay, well, let's go and do that. So she was planning to go and do that. And then something else happened. And then she was kind of forced into this situation where she had to, uh, an incident happened and she had a conversation with her boss. And no, and then she was planning to have the conversation with her boss about the incident that had happened. And she ended up talking to our other friend. Our other friend had better advice than I had, because what our other friend told her actually ended up being so much wiser than what I had told her. So she went and told our other friend about this incident, and our other friend told her that, the thing is, why don't you say the minimal? Don't start bringing up all these extra events that had happened. Don't start saying all these instances, because she did have documented instances of times and things that she had felt were being done against her. And this friend tells her, why don't you just talk about just this specific incident and say, act as if this is the first time that has ever happened. Try and gauge your boss's reaction, and from there you're able to know how things go. My advice to her would have been, at least this time your boss has the evidence. So what you need to do is just go there with everything and just say, this is what has been going on. This is the timeline. So that at least you can explain yourself. You can justify yourself, because my advice is usually, come there and defend yourself. Nobody's going to fight for you. So come there and defend yourself. Or that would have been the worst advice. The boss was part of the gaslighting team. Oh, yes. So this girl goes, sits down. I tells the boss, okay, so this is what happened yesterday, and I just wanted to know what's the next step, and this is how it happened and how I'm feeling about it and stuff like that. And yeah, the boss started bringing up things from, why? Because all these people had been coming to the boss, telling her boss all this stuff, and the boss keeps it. He's filing it in the cabinet. She is there thinking, I'm doing a good job, because my supervisor doesn't seem to have major issues with me. He has some issues. Obviously, everybody has issues. They had some issues, but she didn't know he had that much issues with her. Even people that she actually thought were not that bad, because he was giving some instances. He's like, oh yeah, and even there was this time you did something, and she goes like, the only person who would actually know that is this one person. So either that one person went and told somebody else who came and told the boss, or this one person came and told the boss. But anyway, and when we were talking to her later, she was like, that was the loneliest she has ever felt. So she still hasn't found another job, but she's looking and she's planning to leave. But she really did feel the loneliest at that point, because she realized, I don't know anybody. And I have made videos before and said that, you know what, I'm not for this thing of people saying that your employer is not your friend, your colleagues are not your friends, you should not be close to people at your job, but you know what, you spend more time with your workmates, whether you're working from home or you spend more time and more energy with your work people than you do with your family. I have kids and I see my kids less than I see the people at work, because most of the time when I'm home, we're sleeping. I come home at what, 5:30, and we are asleep. I sleep early. So by 9:10 at the maximum, I'm asleep. My kids will be asleep by 9. Weekends, we will see each other during the day, but most of the time we are asleep. We are not spending as much time. When I am with my workmates, I am fully awake, fully aware. I spend so much time with those people that the idea that people are just normalizing the fact that you can work with people who hate you, who are actively trying to destroy your life, and then they say, oh, it's normal, your colleagues are not supposed to be your friends. Do not normalize that. I'm not saying everybody has to always leave their jobs, because it's the same thing with marriage. Not every marriage needs to be thrown away. And just like the way I normally say, not all marriages are meant to be ended just because you things are not working out. But also, this is just one example of the times that somebody can be giving you advice, but they have not really experienced what you are going through. And they might have the best of intentions. When I was giving this advice, I had the best of intentions because I was using my experience to actually show what I think can be a resolution there. However, I don't think that it works all the time. And sometimes you as the friend needs to listen, give your opinion, but also understand the limitations of your of the advice that you're giving, because some people don't realize the limitations of the advice they're giving. They will tell you something like, yeah, you can do this and you can try this and you can try this, but what they don't realize is what that probably worked for them because their situations and their circumstances were different. Your situation and your circumstances, I cannot relate to that. So yeah, all this to say that, I mean, toxic workplaces exist. I have experienced toxicity at work. I have experienced times when, I've had jobs where sometimes you go to work and you're like, I really can't do this. There are jobs that I've had where you just want to look at the boss and just want to just not be there. But then I've also had really, really good experiences. And even in the times when I had the really bad experiences with some colleagues or some bosses or stuff like that, it really helped to have some nice people around who you could vent to. And as much as people don't really believe that workplace friendships are real, when I am somebody's workplace friend, it might not go both ways. They might not be as loyal as I am. But if somebody comes to me and tells me something at work, I usually support them. I don't think that is something that should be lost. I feel like we spend so much. I mean, I cannot stop. People just don't realize how much time you spend with the people you work with. Like the way people say work wife, work husband, things like that. It's actually true. You spend more time with these people than with the person that you chose to spend the rest of your life with. Yes, they will replace you 5 minutes after you're dead, but so will your wife, and so will. So we do want the loyalty. It would be nice if companies can have loyalty, but they can't. We've already established that they don't care. The bottom line is they just care about the money. You also need to just have your own back and just care about the money. But when it comes to the people that you work with, be human. I understand top management, mid management, whatever. But they can only be as evil as we equip them to be. So, it's just one of those things. You want to be that person who climbs the career ladder by messing up other people's lives. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Some people just, that's the best they have, and that's what they use. All right, so that was it for this video. Just wanted to give this good example of just the way, yes, we might want to give some advice and then end up misleading somebody and they find themselves in trouble. Because I genuinely feel, because of what she told us about their interaction with the boss, had she gone there and shown her cards and just said, listen, I know this has been going on, this and this and this. And by the way, from there, she actually could able to see, because she was like, something started making sense. Because you know, when you do a good job and your boss tells you, oh, good job, nice, that's nice. The boss always did that, always told her face to face. Guess what happened when she did anything wrong? He did not tell her face to face. Sent an email, sent a Teams message, anything but have something in documented. There was never a you have done a good job written anywhere. It was always the wrong things that she has done. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe we are just reacting based on what she told us. But for us, it feels like they're documenting her weaknesses so that, anytime she comes up with, I feel like the men are trying to push me out, it can always be said, but you are not performing. You can't just be here because you're a woman. You have to perform. And sometimes, it's also one of those things that there are not a lot of women who do. And sometimes they're just trying to prove a point. I don't even know if they know that they're trying to prove a point. Personally, I think they do, but somebody else was playing devil's advocate and said, maybe that's just how it works for them. They just want you to prove yourself. And I'm like, but I hate when bosses tell you prove yourself, and then, but I have to earn your loyalty, but you don't have to earn my respect. You don't have to earn, it's just really bad. But I'm so glad that she did not go ahead and say that, because at least now, even when she leaves, this one we are still torn on it. One person said she should give her a very honest exit interview. Personally, I think it's not worth it. Most of these companies, most of these people will not change. Yes, it's good to say it so that it's documented, and maybe one day somebody will pay attention, and maybe one day when they're sued, something will come up and they'll be like, oh, they knew this. But sweetie, most of these times, nobody cares. Anyway, hope that this was a bit educative for the new year, that you will be able to learn something out of it. I don't think it's Happy New Year. I think this one will probably be posted towards the middle of the year, the middle of the month. So, whatever. Okay, have a nice day. And now that I'm regularly posting, you can subscribe and ring on the notification bell in case I stop posting regularly. But I'm trying to post at least twice a week. Okay? So have a nice day. And and I will also have some interviews lined up, which I will finally edit and post. Okay, bye-bye.